Hey guys, welcome back to J-Frame Fame. In this video, I want to discuss a little bit why I believe, for me personally, the J-Frame is one of my favorite guns in general, but specifically a carry piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and preface this video by saying I think a lot of people would get a great deal of use out of a J-Frame. However, it's not for everyone. And I'm not saying that in like a derogatory or a belittling way. I'm saying it as you need to know what you're doing before you buy a revolver. I would not suggest this being someone's first gun, and I wouldn't suggest it for certain types of people, but I'll get into that. So let's go ahead and start by why I choose a J-Frame as one of my preferred carry pieces. First and foremost is reliability. I've sent thousands and thousands of rounds down a range in different firearms, be it 1911, SIG 226, M11A1, Glock 19, Glock 17, Model 10, J-frames, 686s. In all of those rounds, the weapon that has had the least amount of malfunctions was a revolver, and specifically a hammerless or completely enclosed hammered revolver, and I'll get into that in just a little bit of why this increases the reliability of a revolver tenfold over already being a fantastically reliable handgun. Another thing is longevity. These will last a very, very long time. You can shoot a bunch of rounds through it. Not saying that other guns aren't, but certain designs need to be maintained at a higher degree than a J-frame. Or just insert any good quality revolver here. I like Smith & Wesson. I've had a few Rugers, a couple of Colts, but in today's market, with what's being produced today that you could go out and buy, Smith & Wesson, in my opinion, make the most reliable and revolver that's susceptible to longevity of any of them. This firearm is extremely easy to conceal. I don't know how much of a problem that is for most people. In my state, you can open carry. In my state, you can print all you want. I see it every time I go to Walmart. However, I don't like to profile people, but in a past, I've had to do that for a job. So, in my area, there are a lot of people whose ideals do not fall in line with those who support the Second Amendment. I live in a fairly wealthy part of the South, which is great if you go 30 minutes outside of town, but the town I live in has a liberal arts college. So, nicest people you'll ever meet, but if they see a firearm, they're scared, and that's because they have never been exposed to firearms other than what they've seen on the news, the media, on television, and movies, which anyone who knows anything about guns at all, those are extremely, how should I put this, inaccurate in their representation of firearms and firearms ownership. So when I can, I like to keep things concealed as much as possible. Do I open carry around my house and on the farm when I'm back home? Absolutely. Do I open carry, excuse me, in Walmart? No. Well, for one, I hardly ever go to Walmart. Also, I believe the last time I ever open carried in the town I live in was because I was open carrying with a holster, and I was driving to my gun range, and I had to get gas, so I just stepped out. I got 2 weird looks just from pumping gas. So if that tells you anything, yeah. Do you have the right to open carry? Absolutely. I love the philosophy behind open carry, outside waistband. But at the same time, anytime you can just fly under the radar, the better. The main reason that I would choose a J-frame 90% of the time would be for the following reasons. The number one being, if you look it up through statistics, reports, and you find good quality information, most self-defense shootings happen in a very close distance between the two parties. Now, that being said, when in America, for the most part, when someone is going to either shoot you, rob you, kill you, rape you, whatever it is, they want something off of your body. They want something from you. Until recently, you know, the mass shooter thing, you know, that has become a concern, but the likelihood of finding yourself in a mass shooter, very, very, very low. The likelihood of you ever having to use your firearm, very low. The likelihood of you ever firing more than 3 or 4 rounds, very low. However, within that small statistic, there is a high likelihood of you having to use it within arm's reach of someone, or on the ground, or in hand-to-hand combat. For example, let's go with the high probability case that someone wants your wallet, maybe tries to grab it off of you, doesn't really pull a gun in your face, but tries to pickpocket you or tries to grab your wallet. If you have any martial arts background, you know that you'll swing around, control the wrist. A lot of fights go to the ground. People don't stand up and box like they do in the movies. People grapple. Okay, and I have a martial arts background as well. And when you are on the ground grappling with someone, it is much, much easier to engage this firearm into the fight than it is, let's say, a Glock or a 1911, any semi-automatic handgun. It is much easier to get this weapon to function reliably on the ground if it doesn't have an external hammer. That's why I believe this firearm is the most useful for me personally in the United States. If I find myself in a situation, it'll probably be either a carjacking, armed robbery. Probably not going to kidnap me because I weigh like 200 pounds, so that would be pretty impressive. But all in all, you're going to be close. You're going to be at bad breath. You're going to be on the ground. You're going to be getting your face bashed in, and you're going to have to shoot someone off the top of you, more than likely. Because the majority of people in America do not know how to fight, and if they do, they don't know how to fight on the ground. So, honestly, before you get a firearm, I'd go do some jiu-jitsu. It'd probably save your life quicker than carrying your 34 with an RMR on it. Now, as far as which J-frame would I choose, this one here, which is loaded because I just took it off, is a 340 PD, or MMP 340. This one is the MMP version. It has the XS Big Dot front sight right there with a better rear notch, I think. This is a very, very, very good revolver. I've shot a couple thousand rounds out of it. This one is in 357 Magnum, if you can read that. The reason I go with 357 Magnum is because I like to have the choice to shoot 357 Magnum. Now, these here are 38 Speer Gold Dots, which I think honestly is probably one of the best rounds you can get. They make a short barrel formula, which is also very good. Just choose whichever one you want. I've done a little bit of ballistics testing and decided on there's no real big difference between the two, and they're very hard to find in my area. So just whatever I can find, I buy it. I carry a speed strip most of the time with spears in it. But however, there are certain times, specifically during the winter time, if it's very, very cold outside and people are wearing thicker jackets. In my area, people like to wear Carhartt, which is a very thick material, then filled with insulation, which dramatically impacts the expansion of a bullet. I've done some testing. Shooting denim, not a big deal. Shooting 3 inches of Carhartt insulation, that's kind of detrimental to the bullet. These are Hornady 357 Magnums with the little red tips in them. These I do like to carry during the winter because you get a little bit better penetration out of this round than you do that one. And I'm, for the most part, carry these in these little eggs because I'll have a big jacket on. I can just drop this down in my jacket pocket. That's another thing. This firearm you can fire from a jacket pocket completely reliably. I've done some testing. You can shoot like a Glock 43 out of your pocket. No big deal. It'll function most of the time, but this is almost guaranteed to function, especially where there's no hammer. This is about a, depending on where you get it, $750 to $850 handgun, which is a lot for a J-frame. Would that be the one I would recommend? Absolutely not. I would say that for the most part, people, if you're interested in a J-frame, should look at a 642, a 638, those would be the two I'd recommend. The 637 has an external hammer, which I personally don't like in a deep concealment handgun. I also like the 442. I would get a 442 over a 642. The only difference is the 442 is black. The 642 is that it's not even stainless, it's an aluminum, like silverish paint over top of it, which it will chip and wear on the firearm. Not that this doesn't, I just think it looks better and holds up to more abuse the black ones do. And then ammo selection, you know, get anything that you like. If you're shooting 38s specifically out of yours, because one, it's either only 38 special or you don't like the recoil of 357 Magnum, I would go with the Speer gold dots. They are, I don't want to say the best round, but they are the best round that's not crazy expensive. You get box of 50 for like 20 some bucks. You know, I paid more for 25 rounds of the Hornady. This thing will stand up. I give up. Nope. Okay. Of the Hornady for 25 rounds than I did for 50 rounds of these, and those work just fine. I would recommend the Speed Strip, but you just got to practice. At first, these are much easier to reload, but you got an egg in your pocket. These fit flat and are not a big deal. As far as holsters go, this one is a Galco Summer Comfort holster. I really like this holster. I like leather holsters in general for most of my firearms. You know, I love Kydex also. I have a great deal of Kydex holsters, but for the most part, especially in a revolver or something like that, these Galco Summer Comfort holsters are great. I do have a G-code holster for this that's really nice. Also, if I want something Kydex, Safariland makes a good kind of Kydex-ish holster that's relatively affordable. These are like 60 some bucks, but you can find them on eBay quite readily for like 30. So I have a couple of these I've bought off of eBay just to have a backup. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I will also carry this in the pocket, I wanted to mention. I apologize for that. And either a DeSantis, little sticky holsters, or I will buy a sticky brand holster to carry in the pocket, which works great in like cargo shorts. I find that it works pretty good in the back of a Carhartt pocket. I don't know why, just the Carhartts I buy have a big back pocket in them, or a jacket pocket. Never, please never carry a firearm that's loaded in a pocket where the trigger is exposed, because that, even though this is a heavy trigger, that is a good way to shoot yourself. So please don't do that. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know below what you think about J-frames, whether or not you think it's a viable tool, and if you think I'm absolutely crazy for carrying one. So thank you guys so much, and I really do appreciate it.